Hi everyone, this video is for section 7.2 of your Anatomy and Physiology textbook. In this video, we'll be talking about the cells, fiber, and ground substance of bone tissue, the importance of the two main components of bone tissue. We'll be comparing the histology of two different types of bone tissue and also two types of bone marrow. So we've talked previously that bone is a type of connective tissue, and all connective tissues consist of a combination of cells plus fiber plus ground substance. So that's going to be a very important theme of what we're talking about in this video. There are 4 different types of bone cells. We're going to be talking about each one of these 4 in detail. They are osteogenic cells, osteoblasts, osteocytes, and osteoclasts. So, talking about these 4 types of bone cells. First, we have osteogenic cells. These are actually stem cells, and they come from the endosteum. Okay, so their job is to maintain a population of undifferentiated stem cells, as well as give rise to the other bone cell types. So they have 2 things going on. They are maintaining a stem cell population and differentiating to form the other bone cells. Then we have osteoblasts. Osteoblasts are the cells that form the bone. Okay, so it's important to note here that these are non-mitotic. This is an important point that differentiates them from the other bone cell types. Okay, so they're not mitotic. They do not do mitosis. So the organic matter, when I say organic matter, I'm talking about things that are carbon-based. That organic matter in the matrix hardens as calcium and phosphorus and magnesium and other minerals are deposited. When bones are stressed, osteogenic cells multiply rapidly, and that increases the number of osteoblasts, and this could reinforce a bone or repair a bone. Osteoblasts also secrete a hormone called osteocalcin, which, believe it or not, has functions related to insulin and the pancreas. So we've talked about the osteogenic cells. Those are the stem cells. We talked about the osteoblasts. So osteogenic cells, when they differentiate, can become osteoblasts. And when these osteoblasts get trapped in a matrix, we call them osteocytes. Okay, so these are 3 steps in the maturity process. Osteogenic are the stem cells. Osteoblasts become mature osteocytes. Okay, so the key here is the osteocytes are trapped in the matrix. They're no longer able to move around. Osteocytes have these long processes on them. Those long processes allow communication with neighboring cells. Osteocytes, one of their functions is to look for strain or stress. And when the osteocytes sense strain or stress, they secrete signals that help to control bone remodeling. Our last type of bone cell here is a little bit different. These are osteoclasts. They aren't in the same progression as the first 3 cell types we looked at. Here we have stem cells that differentiate into osteoclasts. Okay, osteoclasts are bone-dissolving cells. They exist on the surface of the bone, and their job is to dissolve bone when that's necessary as part of bone remodeling or bone healing. So we talked a minute ago that bones are a type of connective tissue, and connective tissue is made of cells, fibers, and matrix. Okay, so here the matrix is composed of two different components. The first one is organic matter. Okay, so the organic matter is carbon-based, and the organic matter can contain collagen proteins that we've talked about before, complexes of carbohydrates and proteins, and some of these more complex combinations of proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. Okay, so that's the organic matter. We also have inorganic material, and inorganic material is things that aren't carbon-based. Okay, so mostly we have hydroxyapatite, and hydroxyapatite is a compound of calcium and phosphates. We also have calcium carbonate, and then some minerals, notably magnesium and fluoride are in there. So bone is a composite material, and it has two main components. The first one is the ceramic component, and the second one is the polymer component. So the ceramic component, in general, is a very firm but brittle component, and the polymer is a flexible and more elastic component. Okay, so the ceramic component in the bone is the part that allows the bone to support the weight of your body. When that ceramic component is deficient because we don't have enough or the proper minerals, the result is the disease rickets, which is a problem in children. The polymer are proteins, and they give the bones just enough flexibility that they can withstand some force of impact without breaking. So if the polymer portion is not there, the resulting disease is osteogenesis imperfecta, and we call this brittle bone disease. If you guys watch TV and you ever see commercials for Shriners Hospital, they have a lot of kids with osteogenesis imperfecta in their commercials. When the polymer, when that protein component of the bone is missing, bones break very, very easily. They are not able to withstand really any force of impact at all. So now we're going to talk about the histology of some bones. Okay, so the first type of bone we're going to talk about is compact bone. Compact bone is identifiable by its concentric ring layout. Okay, so these concentric lamellae are found around a central canal. We call that the Haversian canal. Okay, and then these concentric circles make up the dense bone tissue. In contrast, spongy bone is what we find at the heads of bones. Okay? And this is slivers of bone. It's more of a lattice structure. It's crisscrossing. It does not have any concentric ring formations. The idea of this type is to have a very strong portion of the bone that is lightweight. And we're going to wrap up here by talking about bone marrow. So bone marrow fills the cavities of the long bones and the small spaces that exist within the spongy bone. Okay, so we have red marrow, and red marrow is what has the hematopoietic tissue. That's what I study. That produces the different blood cells. In children, as their blood system and immune system is developing, almost all of their marrow is red marrow. In adults, red marrow is confined to the skull, the vertebra, ribs, sternum, the hip bones, and the heads of the humerus and femur. Yellow marrow is not found in children. It is found in adults. Yellow marrow does not do hematopoiesis, so it does not produce blood. So the yellow marrow is found in the other bones where red marrow is not. It's interesting. I want you guys to know that yellow marrow can transform back into red marrow if there's a severe imbalance in the components of blood, such as in chronic anemia.